So if you want to be a better person, how do you start? You can become a hippie and go and look for the real you. And you can look, and you can look, and you can look. You want to be a better person? Machshava, dibur, and maisa. If you're a better thinker, you're a better person. If you're a better talker, you're a better person. If you're a better doer, you're a better person. Yeah, but what about my kavanah? That part of the neshama is your Mosel. Fix what you can control, and the Mosel will come down. Tracht good, then the Mosel will have more of an effect. Speak good, the Mosel will have more of an effect. Do good, and the Mosel will have more of an effect. So if you want to make your life better, meaning your marriage, your relationship, your family, your home, and your children, there is no mystery that you have to figure out. Tracht gut, which means machshava, dibur, and maisa. Particularly, knowing that the Rebbe said that he is taking responsibility for our children when we go on shlichus. Does that mean that we have no responsibility? Does that mean that we can neglect our children because the Rebbe is taking care of them? The Rebbe said, I'm taking it on my achrayus means, I will give you the Mosel. But if you close the door, so the Mosel is already there because you're on shlichus. The keiches makifin, the strong, infinite, endless keiches that the Rebbe offers, is there and available. But you have to open the door. Open the door. So, tracht gut. Is your husband perfect in your thinking? If he's not, then you're not thinking right. In your thinking, he has to be perfect. He has to be exactly what you want and need, so that you make it possible for him to be exactly what you want and need. Tracht gut. At least moments, at least occasions, where you can sit and think about your husband, and in your thought and in your mind's eye, he looks perfect. You think that if you notice how imperfect he is, it will help make him perfect. No. If he thinks how imperfect he is, that will help him become perfect. But your job is to see him as perfect. Same thing is true with the children. You may have all sorts of worries. You may have all sorts of legitimate disappointments. Your children are not what they should be. But there have to be at least moments where you look at your children and they are perfect. Tracht gut. Just to make it very graphic, when Mashiach comes and you introduce your children to the Rebbe, never mind the fact that when Mashiach comes, your children will be perfect. If they don't change, if you introduce your children to the Rebbe Are you going to be ashamed, or are you going to be comfortable? Will you cringe? Will you apologize? Rebbe, these are my children, I'm sorry. If you did that, the Rebbe would be so angry at you. But he's not really a Chassidish Bacher, and she's not so this, and he's not so that, and you know, it's... You introduce your children to the Rebbe. You say to the Rebbe, these children are your shluchim, they were born on shlichus. These children are your children, they were born in your kehillah. They went to your yeshiva. They're your children, and I will not apologize for them. That's what the Rebbe wants to hear. And if you could remind yourself from time to time that that is true, then the tracht gut et werden gut. This is not a question of emunah. This is avodah. You can have emunah. It'll all be good. In the end, it'll all be good. Everything will be good. That's good. That's emunah. Avodah means make it good. How can you make it good? Tracht gut, wird sein gut. You can have the effect, not just hope for the best. Of course, you have to have emunah that your words will have an effect. But that's always the case. You have to do your best and believe that when you do your best, it will have an effect. So, let's start trachting good. In those areas where it's hardest. Where is it hardest to tracht good? About your children. Because they're so bad. And they're your children. So it's very easy to look at somebody else's kid and say, nah, he's a good kid, leave him alone, he's fine. Yeah, but my own kid. Let me tell you the negative side. Somebody asked me, is Judaism any better than Taliban? Are Orthodox Jews any different? Because you take a look in the Chumash. Yeah. If you follow what it says in the Chumash, you'd be killing somebody every day. For this, you die. For that, you get killed. For this, you get stoned. For this, you get... Who would be alive? So I said, let me use an example. The Torah says that if you have a son who doesn't listen to you and eats a lot, kill him. That's what it says. You bring him to Bezdin and you say, this is our son, he doesn't listen and he eats too much, and have him stoned to death. Sounds a little like Taliban. Lahavdil. So people say, well, you see, in those days, this is Torah. Not in those days. Torah says that this is what you do. So, yeah, it sounds like we could be pretty much like, if we had a Bezdin, bad news. Actually, it's the opposite. Torah is Torah's chesed. If parents don't like their child and think that the child needs to be killed, he's that bad, he needs to be killed. What happens in Arab countries today? If parents think the kid needs to be killed, they kill him. They hang him in the closet. Happens every day. What does the Torah say? The Torah says that if parents find that their child is so bad that he needs to be killed, bring him to Bezdin. which means you can't kill him. Bring him to Besdin and convince a board of judges that this 13-year-old kid needs to die. Good luck. And that's why it never happened. No Ben Seder Umeida was ever killed. Why? Because you think a group of judges are going to want to kill a 13-year-old? The mother wants to kill him. That makes sense. But not a Besdin. Now, somebody can say, so why do you have to have this whole thing take him to Besdin? Why don't you just say, no 13-year-old should ever be killed? Because that wouldn't convince parents. Almost every parent will say, yeah, but my kid he's much worse. My kid is an exception. He has to die. So in order to satisfy the parent, you have to say, you know what? Could be you're right. Could be. Your kid may be that bad. So let's check it out. Bring him to Besdin and let's see. Parents can be devastating to their children because they care too much, because they care a lot. And it doesn't necessarily mean killing like Taliban, but there are many ways in which we can destroy a child because we think he's bad. Which, of course, makes no sense. You think he's bad, it bothers you very much, so you make him worse? That doesn't make any sense. So, even if a child seems to be so disappointing and so bad and so wrong and so off base, the Mosel is always good. Trach gut, open the door to the Mosel, and he will be good. So if that connection hasn't yet happened, okay, so it's going to happen soon. So if you bring your child to the Rebbe and say, this is my child, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You have nothing to apologize for. You're not allowed to apologize. And one final thought. If we fix the world, Fatzas Mayones, everybody does tshuva, the buttons are all polished, everything is done, so Mashiach can come already. But then if everything is done, why do you need Mashiach? Then what's Mashiach going to do? Sounds like a contradiction. Make the world good, and then Mashiach will come and make it good. Our job is to bring the Rebbe healthy, good children. The Rebbe's job is to make them into Chassidim. I mean, what does a Rebbe do? A Rebbe makes Chassidim. Our job is to bring a healthy, good child to Mashiach and let Mashiach make him Mashiach. We don't have to do the entire job. We have to do what a parent does. What do parents do? You make a healthy, happy child and you give him to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe makes him into a chassid. So when you bring your children to the Rebbe and they're not big chassidim, that's fine. The Rebbe will make them chassidim. So all you have to do is bring your children to the Rebbe. And they are perfect. They're exactly what the Rebbe wants. They're exactly what the Rebbe needs. And then he will make them his chassidim. Trach gut. It's not always easy. Taser says sometimes parents want to kill their kids. So it must be true. It's not always easy. but you have to do it at least sometimes. At least sometimes you have to fall asleep thinking, my children are absolutely delightful. And I have no apologies, and I am not ashamed to introduce them to the Rebbe. Got to do that. The result will be that you will feel better, they will feel better, and their Mosel will start to shine. Because you open the door to their Mosel.